Haters gonna hate. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 romance movies people love to hate. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at romantic movies, rom-coms, and comedies or dramas with a notable romantic element that, even within a genre that gets a lot of flack, wound up being greater magnets for scorn and mockery than their contemporaries. Number 10, All About Steve.
My date is substantially better looking than one might have predicted.
The very same year that Sandra Bullock delivered an Academy Award-winning performance as Leanne Toohey in The Blind Side, she also starred in this widely despised comedy masquerading as a rom-com. Her off-the-wall and hyper-cringy performance as the socially awkward, obsessive Mary Horowitz earned her a Golden Raspberry for Worst Actress, making her the first person to ever win both Best and Worst Actress in the same year.
Oh, you okay? You okay?
Though not every film on this list deserves the hate it gets, All About Steve really did. It's not just bad, it's deeply misguided. It's uncomfortable, fails to address what is a clear case of mental illness, and actually features no romance.
Hey!
Hi.
Hey! Oh!
Number 9, Jersey Girl.
Your chariot awaits, princess!
Ben Affleck's career has been a roller coaster ride, and the early 2000s were definitely a low point. Jersey Girl is by no means a great film, but the hate it gets is more of a symptom of its context than of its individual merits. It's a sentimental rom-com that should have come, gone, and been forgotten. Unfortunately, this was released just 1 year after Ben made another film people love to hate. But more on that later.
Would you mind not asking me those questions when my daughter's with me?
How about when you bring these back?
The other issue? This was directed by Kevin Smith, who, rather than delivering one of his typically zany, fast-talking cult classics, made this paint-by-numbers rom-com. All that to say, Jersey Girl stood out in all the worst ways.
You are moving to the city and you're gonna like it, and that's the end!
Number 8, The Bounty Hunter.
You are a bounty hunter?
Yep.
Gerard Butler is the perfect casting choice for a bounty hunter, and Jennifer Aniston is basically a rom-com sure thing. So how did this movie wind up serving as the butt of so many jokes the year of its release? Well, as A.O. Scott of the New York Times put it, the film earned its PG-13 rating with, quote, witless sexual innuendo and witless violence. Or, as Mark Pfeiffer of Real Time summed it up, quote, as a lousy mystery and lousier romantic comedy, The Bounty Hunter is two bad films in one. The standard for action rom-coms isn't very high, but this flick managed to fall laughably below the bar, even with 2 solid stars.
Life is about making mistakes, right?
Number 7, The Ugly Truth.
I'm not desperate. Why, did you think I sounded desperate?
Okay, forget everything we just said about The Bounty Hunter. The real reason cinemagoers love to hate that movie is because the people who made it, for some reason, cast Gerard Butler in the lead despite having just appeared in this stinker. Butler's breakout performance was as the muscle-bound King Leonidas in 300. Who thought it was a good idea for him to do a rom-com opposite Jennifer Aniston? Or worse, Katherine Heigl.
It's terrifying, especially when I'm in love with a psycho like you.
I am not a psycho!
Peter Travers from Rolling Stone denounced the film, stating, quote, there's not a genuine laugh in it. Toss this ugly-ass crap to the curb. The film made money, but considering the challenge of finding someone who liked it, we're not sure how.
You disgust me.
Number 6, Valentine's Day.
You'll step into love, my friend, you fall in, head over heels.
You know why people love to hate this movie? 2 words, Love Actually. You see, it's one thing to make a forgettable rom-com, but when you blatantly rip off the style of another film without any of the charm or quirks that made said film a hit with audiences, well, you're setting yourself up for some major blowback.
There you have it, young love, full of promise, full of hope, ignorant of reality.
Valentine's Day follows a star-studded cast of characters and intertwining storylines, just like Love Actually, except it's over Valentine's Day and not Christmas. As painfully derivative as Valentine's Day might have been, it was nothing compared to director Gary Marshall's follow-up, New Year's Eve.
It is New Year's Eve, anything's possible.
Number 5, From Justin to Kelly.
Oh, hey, we met at the beach, right?
Yeah, my friends call me Kelly for short.
2003 was a different time. Pop music was still trying to figure out its place in the movie industry, which, spoiler, is in the soundtrack and in the soundtrack only. American Idol was also in its infancy, and unlike nowadays, the finalists literally became household names. The powers that be had a massive cultural phenomenon on their hands. and they weren't sure how best to milk that cow. So naturally, they took two singers, untrained in acting, and put them in a paper-thin musical romantic comedy.
Must be the chemistry, you and me, that I can't deny.
Justin, Kelly, you're both super likable, but the masses could not help but laugh at this. And we just hope that in hindsight, you're laughing with us.
Look, I need to get out of here.
Number 4, all movies based on Nicholas Sparks novels.
Don't read it now. Wait till I'm gone.
Nicholas Sparks, you either love him or you hate him. And honestly, for people in the latter category, you probably didn't even know he existed until it became the go-to Hollywood move to adapt pretty much anything he writes, be it a novel or a grocery list on a fast food napkin.
I love you, Will.
I love you too.
The thing is, with so many sickeningly sweet Nicholas Sparks romance movies having hit theaters, good or terrible, they all feel like a parody of themselves. And given their prevalence in the cinematic pop culture landscape, it's just so easy to hate them. All jokes aside though, The Notebook is awesome.
It wasn't over. It still isn't over.
Number 3, Gigli.
In every relationship, there's a bull and a cow.
Hey, we warned you that Ben would be doing double duty on this list. The early 2000s really weren't kind to the wunderkind who co-wrote and co-starred in Good Will Hunting, but this mind-bogglingly bad rom-com was really the pinnacle of his unlucky stretch.
Oh, and in case you're interested, my life sucks.
Everyone knows they're supposed to hate Gigli, even if they've never seen it. But why? Well, it was supposed to be a very different film before the studio recut it into a rom-com to capitalize on the Bennifer buzz. Regardless, the performances are truly atrocious, though not nearly as bad as the dialogue, which includes lines like gobble gobble and this painful little monologue.
You wanna be a gangster? You wanna be a thug? You sit at my feet, gather the pearls that emanate forth from me.
Number 2, the 50 Shades franchise.
Mr. Gray, we'll see you now.
Widely mocked and loathed by all but the most unabashed of fans, which still amounts to huge numbers at the box office, the big screen adaptations of E.L. James' best-selling erotic novels have been parodied to an almost unparalleled degree. Actors Dakota Johnson and Jamie Dornan have both proven themselves to be more than competent on screen in past roles, but the lack of chemistry in these movies was palpable. With the final film in the series, some reviewers like Manuela Lazic of IndieWire argued that the much maligned series had evolved to the point of being, quote, a disarming comedy that makes this ridiculous material fun to watch. Yikes. We doubt that was the filmmaker's intent.
You want to talk about it?
I've already talked to a pint of ice cream about it.
Number 1, the Twilight franchise.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
As we were saying, 50 Shades is almost the most mocked romantic film franchise in cinematic history. But Twilight has got it beat. Twilight was a cultural phenomenon in book form, earning itself legions of rabid fans and inspiring countless haters who couldn't stand Stephenie Meyer's take on vampires. But with the film, things really reached a fever pitch. People seemingly made hating Twilight a part-time job.
I'm only afraid of losing you. I feel like you're gonna disappear.
For fans of the book, these movies obviously offer a fun experience, even if they're subpar films and imperfect adaptations. Whatever shortcomings the series may have, the hate is undeniably far heavier than the films rightfully deserve. But hey, that is the price of massive popularity.
My time as a human was over. But I never felt more alive.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Ms. Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.